All right, today we're jumping into some seriously cool new science that's going to completely change how you think about keeping your brain sharp as you get older. We're going to look at this hidden battle that's happening inside your body right now, a fight between your muscle and a very specific kind of fat. And honestly, the winner of that fight could decide the future of your mind.
So let me just start with this question. What if the real key to a younger, faster, more resilient brain has less to do with crossword puzzles and a whole lot more to do with what's going on from the neck down? That's the incredible idea we're digging into today.
You know, for decades, we've all been told to look at things like BMI to figure out if we're healthy. But science is showing us that's kind of like using a sledgehammer for surgery. It's just not precise. The new frontier, the really exciting stuff, is looking at body composition, and more specifically, the ratio of muscle to a very particular kind of fat. It tells a much, much more interesting story.
So what is this powerful new number? What's this metric that can give us such a clear look into our brain's future?
And here it is. The single biggest takeaway from all this new research is that the ratio of your muscle to your visceral fat, that right there is one of the most powerful predictors of how fast your brain actually ages. So you can forget your weight on the scale, you can forget your BMI, it all comes down to this specific internal balance of these two tissues. That's what really matters.
Okay, but that's a huge claim, right? So how do we actually know this? Let's dive into the science and see exactly how researchers figured this all out.
Well, the proof comes from this major study that was just presented at the annual meeting of the Radiological Society of North America. You'll hear it called RSNA. And that's a big deal. It's kind of where all the cutting-edge new research is revealed for the first time.
And we're not talking about a small little study either. Researchers use these advanced whole-body MRI scans on 1,164 healthy adults. They used AI to precisely measure every bit of their body composition, and then they compared all that data to detailed scans of their brains. It was a massive, massive project.
And what they found was just incredibly clear. First, having more muscle mass was directly linked to a brain that looked biologically younger on the scans. Simple as that. Second, having more of that deep belly fat, the visceral fat, compared to muscle, predicted the exact opposite, a brain that was aging faster. And maybe the most surprising thing, the fat just under your skin, the stuff you can actually pinch, it had no link at all. It really proves it's all about the type of tissue and where it is in your body.
So it all boils down to this simple but pretty profound idea. Your muscle is actively working to keep your brain young, while that visceral fat is actively working to make it age faster. They're locked in this constant tug of war, and your brain's future is the price.
But why? Why is this even happening? I mean, how can two tissues inside our own bodies have such completely opposite effects on our brain? Well, it really is a tale of a hero and a villain.
Okay, first, let's meet the villain, visceral fat. Now, this is not the fat you can pinch on your belly. No, this is the dangerous stuff, deep inside, wrapped around your organs, like your liver and intestines. You should think of it as a little inflammation factory, just constantly pumping out these harmful molecules that create this low-grade, chronic inflammation all over your body, and that includes your brain.
And then you've got the hero of the story, your muscle tissue. See, when you actually use your muscles, they act like their own little pharmacy, releasing these amazing things called myokines. These are basically neuroprotective messengers. You've got things like BDNF and irisin that travel up to your brain, and once they get there, they fight inflammation, they help you grow new brain cells, they basically do everything you want for great brain health.
So, we get the problem and we know the why. Now for the most important part. What can we actually do about it? Let's build your action plan to protect your brain.
The science points to a really clear three-part strategy to tip the scales in your brain's favor. It's pretty straightforward. You got to build muscle with resistance training, you got to burn that visceral fat with aerobic exercise, and you have to fuel the whole process with the right kind of nutrition. Okay, let's get specific. For resistance training, we're talking about 2 to 3 sessions a week, hitting all your major muscle groups. For aerobic exercise, the sweet spot is about 150 minutes a week of moderate activity. Think a really brisk walk. That is fantastic for targeting that dangerous visceral fat. And finally, to feed those muscles, you want to aim for about 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight every day.
Now, here is a really timely, super important point. You've heard about these popular weight loss drugs, the GLP-1s. Well, they're great at helping you lose fat,
but they can also cause you to lose a lot of muscle. And based on everything we've just learned, that is a trade-off you do not want to make for your brain. So if you're on these medications, pairing them with resistance training is absolutely essential.
So, let's zoom out. What's the big picture here? The real takeaway from all this goes way beyond just, getting fit or looking good.
The key is really to reframe how you think about all this. Your body composition is literally telling a story about the future of your brain's health. This is not about how you look in the mirror. It's about neuroprotection. Every single workout, every weight you lift is a new chapter that you are writing for your brain's future. It's a direct investment in your mind for decades to come.
So, we've walked through the science, we've seen the battle between muscle and fat, and we've laid out the action plan. The only question left is the one you see right here. Now that you know all this, how are you going to rewrite your story? Thanks for tuning in.